Wow.
Well, another week.
Another week and wait, do you know well, actually no. That's too personal.
What?
Like-
What were you gonna ask?
it's funny that and we don't really like aim to talk about like it's like the podcast was never I don't know. Do you feel like we have a topical podcast or do you feel like like sometimes like I feel like when I encounter something I never want to listen too far back because then I'm gonna feel like it took place in a different time period. So I'm not gonna, people are not gonna be able to like um, really enjoy what we're gonna be talking about because it happened a while back. But I feel like a lot of our episodes really are
They're
kind of timeless, well, except with a few nuggets here and there of like things that are happening
yeah, like
in
pop
current media,
culture.
pop
Yeah.
culture.
No, I think personally in my work that I strive to create, whether it's this podcast or it's a TikTok or it's a written work, like a screenplay or a play, I
Mhm.
tend to shoot for timeless because I want it to transcend time. I don't want people to look back at it and be like, "Oh, this is dated," because there's so many times where like I will see things and I'm like, "Oh, that is such a product of the time that it came from," which can sometimes be good and sometimes that can transcend and sometimes it's
Yeah,
really kind of
intentional.
it can kind of really kind of keeps it in a box. So I try to be timeless as
Well, guys,
possible.
speaking of works of writing, Nick and I both submitted together to something, and I don't know, that was like a month ago.
Yeah, it was a
But at
month
this point, it
ago.
was over a month. So I don't know. It's the first time that we've been up for the same thing,
For the same
many
role.
times. But we'll see.
I mean, that doesn't
I'm
start.
rooting for you. It's
I'm
not.
rooting for you
Yeah.
too. It doesn't start until October if we were to book.
Yeah,
But
and I mean, it's not even necessarily a booking. It's just like being part of a group, like
it's a
a fellowship.
fellowship.
It's a fellowship, yeah, yeah. But I never thought that we would be in a time space in which like both of us would be submitting for something together, because I don't know. Like I always thought of us as like I don't know. We're like offering different things, but then ultimately, what you're working on and what I've been working on is also at the end of the day like writing based, because we wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It was really interesting for me to think about that. I was like, wow, like writing partner. I don't know what I would. I don't know necessarily. Well, hi, I'm Pioneer Peru,
I'm Trailblazer
and
Nick, and
this
this is
is
Pioneers and
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers.
I don't know how I would feel about. How would you feel about if both of us were writing partners? Because now we are partners in the word, in the spoken word,
Mm-hmm.
and we do have like a good rapport, like a yin and yang, like a great bounce back and forth. When it comes to writing, though, would you be open to having a writing partner? Two, if the writing partner would be me, and three, how would you think that would work? Would it be like we both have to sit down and write together? I think so. Because I don't know, like we would send each other pages and just it would just be like so discombobulated. I
Yeah,
think.
I've never had a writing partner like officially. Like there have been attempts, which was a point of contention between me and the one who cut me off. Because that was one of the reasons why I was cut off was because I didn't want to work on the project together, and I was like, that's actually not true, Ellen.
The one that cut you off?
Yes,
Which one?
I'm not gonna get into it because we talked about it behind the paywall.
Can you remind me though? Oh yeah, sorry. The one that the friend that cut you off.
Yes,
Yes, I
my
remember.
friend. My
The
friend.
wedding friend
Yes.
instance. Yes,
And one of the
it's on the
reasoning,
Patreon.
yeah, if you want to get into it, it's on the Patreon. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to listen.
Yep.
But one of the reasonings behind that was because we had this idea for this joint venture that we wanted to do, this like pilot that we wanted to write, and then we talked about it for years and years and years, and then we were just so busy in our own lives, and like I had so much going on, and like we did a lot of brainstorming with it and stuff, but then never actually like sat down and wrote pages. And then that was, I guess, one of the contributing factors to why I was cut off, because I didn't want to work and I didn't want to contribute. And I don't think that was necessarily the truth, but I do think I have my writers group that meets or whatever, and we just started back up last week for the new year, which has been like really nice to have that sort of structure back. Because I've been feeling more creative recently, and like feeling like I have something that like inside of me that I like need to get out, but I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know what it is. So like that's fun to try to work out. But I think for me, like writing is so personal, and like I have such a hard time, especially if like it's something that I'm an idea that I'm really passionate about. I have like a hard time making compromises. So like if like there is another voice in the room, I mean I'm not opposed to it. I mean like we had some sort of we collaborated when we did our live show, and we did a lot of
Yeah,
we
although
did slight writing for that, but I think also like it was the mixture of two ideas that we're trying to blend together to make one sort of cohesive thing. And I think that I have it uses a different part of my brain than I think sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not always like prepared to use. You know what I mean? Like I think when you're working with another person, it's a lot of like having to listen and having to whatever. And I think sometimes when I'm writing, I'm like, it's all about me.
well, yeah, and I mean it's different because we make compromises, like operationally and logistically with this podcast now. Like we just recently, literally a few days ago, like had like a conversation about that and things, and like so, I feel like we've gotten much more comfortable when it comes to just objectively like speaking like logistics and this and that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have we know how to talk to each other now and how to address stuff, but writing wise and creatively it would be much different.
Because that's like a baby. That's like your baby.
But yeah, and ultimately, and I think our safety net, which is never, because like I mean creatively speaking we do collaborate on this podcast too, but it's not like, again, it's just spoken word, it's improv
Mm-hmm.
basically. But I mean, I don't think we will ever even have to dabble into any of that territory, because I think even creatively we both think differently. So I don't think the two of us would be interested in the same thing per se. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not that we wouldn't find the other thing fun or cool or interesting, but like
Yeah.
our creations
We're
are
focused on different
different.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're inspired by different
Yeah,
things.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I think we have yet I don't know. Should that opportunity come where we both find something, we're like, wait, we both want to work on this, and like, oh, we both find this like really exciting. Like, I'm obviously not opposed to
I
that.
don't think I would be down to clown with you writing wise, per se. I don't think lately it could.
So fuck my
No, no,
drag.
I'm saying I don't think
Fuck my
I don't think it would
drag.
happen lately, or I don't think it would happen now. I would love to be in an acting job together with you.
Oh,
I
that would
think
be
we would have
fun.
so. I think we both
Oh, we
would.
would
We would have a
keep.
diva off,
No,
bitch.
it'd be
Like,
so fun. Well, and stay tuned because things are in the works. Things are in the
hurrah, things
works.
at wax. Which, by the way, a lot of people were asking. I was thinking about this, and I think it could be really fun. I stepped in. Well, I guess we can be transparent. I mean, I can talk about that actually here in the pod. Um, uh, there is an effort to like be looking at other alternatives of income
Mm-hmm.
in my life. And I would say that I went to a print, because I don't have a printer at home, so I had to go to like a printing store.
Uh huh.
So a printing shop, I guess, store shop,
Sure.
locally owned by brown people. Did not go to Staples, did not go to FedEx or anything. So for all of those boom boom Tims over there, who are just like, yeah,
I'm sorry. What does that have to do with me?
because you're all about like like not the big corporations, whatever. Like you clearly famously came after me for using Amazon last episode
That's
or two
That's
episodes ago.
all jokingly teasing and fun and
Okay,
love.
good, but listeners here, they're looking to us for guidance.
I have never said. I have
Me neither.
never
Please.
said I'm a moral. I mean,
Whoa.
my sister likes to say that I'm the moral high ground, and I'm always on my soapbox and my high
Mhm.
horse. But
Mhm.
I just live my life the way that I live it, and
You
people.
love capitalism. You love Christmas. Look at your Christmas socks right now.
These were gifts from my mother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's
and I
cute.
don't love capitalism. Look at what it has done to
Well,
our
I mean, holidays a
country.
capitalist holiday. The holidays, Christmas.
Yeah, I don't support that. It's just
As you're wearing socks.
again, they were a gift, and I needed to wear clean
I love
socks.
that. No, I'm joking. I love, someone's gonna come after me in the freaking comments, be like,
For all
"He's
the
gonna-
foot fetishists out there, please. Oh, you're wearing pink.
I'm wearing pink. Ooh.
Okay.
Anyway, so I print this, and then this place actually does printing on like hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts, mugs. They do
Oh.
like a lot of
Okay,
that kind of printing, and
merch.
I saw. So then I was like, wait, yes, like I know a lot of people were like, especially on the page, people were like, oh, like I would love to do some kind of merch thing. And I was thinking, wait, like we already have talked about like merch ideas and stuff, but I thought, ooh, like maybe we can like test some stuff out. I have a connection as far as like producing of merch, but then like I don't think we've reached the place where like we need to like
No.
outsource from like a bigger company.
Sure.
And so
But I do love that company that you
I
work.
know, I know. But micro scale, and this company that I know is like does like a lot of merch for like other queer artists, we can say,
A lot of great
a lot of
ones.
great ones. But I would say I was like, wait, like what if we do like a small micro batch of like like a few little mugs and like a few little baseball caps, things that I think that everyone would like to have, either because we have a lot of townspeople who love to listen to us at your job, which is crazy.
I love
But also,
that.
I love that you have us in your ears when you're working at your. But these are people who like. I'm assuming a lot of you guys have, I don't know, have like cubicles, or you're in an office space
Must be 9 to 5.
in which you
Or work
have,
from home.
yeah, or from home, in which like you probably like have a tea or a coffee that you like make, have to drink. So that could be cute for
Mhm.
that townsperson to have, or like a
Mhm.
little baseball cap, because I think a lot of people like baseball caps. So I don't know. And then I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we do like a little, our first ever like little giveaway? We can do like, like a couple mugs, a couple, things, like some for the townspeople, and then some for like people who are on the
Patreon.
Patreon for like town council and trust and believers. So that it could be really fun. So we could talk about that off pod. But do you think it would be fun?
Yeah, I mean that's
Uh,
much. I mean, no, I agree. I agree. I agree. I think it's fun.
that'd be
But
fun,
that's something down the line. We'll do.
I don't know. Like I feel like within this season we could probably do something. Again, I'm not talking about like big. I'm talking about literally just like 2 to 3 of each, or like two of each, and then just like give them away. That'd be
Mhm.
fun to just have. See like where it would be fun to like if we do like a drawing and like actually start seeing where we could be sending stuff from. We know we have a lot of townspeople from Texas, from Wisconsin, and then randomly from like India, Ireland, like Cyprus.
That
Oh, Cyprus
international shipping is gonna be.
is gonna be.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
But shout out really quickly to townsperson Spyros, who always sends us a DM of anytime that they're watching like the drop of the episode on YouTube, and it's always like a photo of I think it's pronounced he him, but I'll just say them, a photo of them on their bed, like all of us with like their laptop playing the episode, and always like a meal,
Oh, cute.
always like either a breakfast or a hamburger
Well,
or
no,
like a
but
granola.
that's the thing is like you need to have something on while you eat.
Of course, because it's an experience,
Yeah,
to watch
You
something.
gotta sit down at the kitchen table. You gotta have something. No, I do
Yes.
that as well.
So shout out to you, Spurs. You being a townsperson from like day 1 or 2, I believe, and you're always sending us a photo. I actually, we need those more photos of you guys. What are you doing when you're watching the app?
Okay, and speaking of meals, I'm gonna pivot into the story that I want to tell my sister Peru. That is
Wait.
like really kind of silly and and kind of crazy. So at work at a restaurant. For those who are unfamiliar, and
Valentine's Day over.
Valentine's Day is over, but I'm at work and I'm in my little office, whatever. All of a sudden the phone rings and it's a twink who sounds really desperate and like on edge. And I go, "Thank you so much for calling. Name of restaurant. My name is. How can I assist you?" And he goes, "Hi, what's the last minute cancellation policy?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, we do ask for 24 hours notice, but we understand if something comes up, like if you have to cancel, there's no penalty or whatever." And he was like, "Okay, because you have a reservation," and then he gives me the name of the reservation, and it's a table for 2 at like 7 o'clock. And then in the little profile photo.
Wait, now I remember when you were. Oh yes, that story. Stop. Wait, I don't.
So
I have no idea about this.
And so then at the little profile photo on the Resi account, it's like this cute little twink, and he's like 20. His birthday's on there, so he's like 25. And I'm like, oh, like so sweet. And then this guy is like, yeah, I need to cancel that reservation. And I said, okay, like I can go ahead and cancel it for you. And so I go and do my thing on like the app, and I'm like canceling the reservation. And when it cancels the
I
reservation,
do my thing.
it sends you an email to say, hey, your reservation's been canceled. So like there's always like a paper trail of that.
Always, we love receipts.
We love to see
Nick
that.
loves a receipt.
Oh, and I do, and that's because I'm a Virgo rising, and I come with the receipts. I need them. We're gonna take them, trust and believe. I keep everything, and so then I cancel the reservation, and then I'm about to say, okay, great, that reservation's been canceled. All of a sudden, this twink on the phone goes, yeah, so that's not my reservation. Like, I'm one of the people going to be going on the reservation. Sorry, this is probably too much information, but I'm breaking up with him in 30 minutes. And I said, I'm sorry. And she was like, is there any way that you can cancel
She
it?
was like,
No, he was
Oh.
like. I said, and then he goes, is there any way that you can cancel the reservation without having him find out?
girl,
And
this,
I
you
was-
you say that beforehand.
No, exactly.
You don't, girl.
And so I said, oh, I mean, there's a way to cancel where they won't get like the email. He's like, well, actually, maybe don't cancel it. Maybe I'll call him and break up with him really quick, and then you can cancel. I'll call back. And I was like,
But you
well,
already did it.
right, but he didn't know that.
But
And so then I said, there's a way to cancel reservations without having that email sent. He goes, oh, can you do that? So then I reconfirmed the reservation. So he got the email saying that the reservation's been confirmed, and then I canceled it for a second time without sending the email.
So, but you still have not disclosed that you had already
Yes,
canceled
I had
it.
already sent it. And so then I was like, okay, that reservation has been canceled. And he goes, oh my God, thank you so much. Okay. Yeah. He's like, cause we're not coming. Like we're not going to be coming. Like we're not coming. Like he just kept reiterating that. And I said, okay, like I get it.
Got
like,
it.
It's fine. So he hangs up. 10 minutes later,
I am gagging. Stop.
the twink whose reservation it was originally calls. And he
The
goes-
boyfriend.
The boyfriend. He goes, hi, this is really weird and strange. I don't know what happened, but I got an email saying that my reservation was canceled, but then I got another email saying that my reservation was confirmed. So like, I don't know what's going on. Like like it's not supposed to be canceled. Like whatever. Like we're coming. And I said, what's the name of the reservation? I saw from the caller ID. I knew who it was, and I was like, oh God. And so then I was like,
Were you sweating?
I was just, my heart was beating really fast because I was like, oh, he hasn't been broken up with yet.
He doesn't
And
know.
he has absolutely no idea. He has no idea. So then I'm like,
So
at this
wait.
point, it's like, at this point, mama, it's when that twink called initially, it was like 6:15, an hour before the reservation, basically an hour before the reservation was supposed to come in. Then he calls like, 45, 40, 30 minutes before the boyfriend whose reservation is, and then he's like, oh, we're supposed to have the reservation. And I went, okay, it was canceled. And he was like, no, it's not supposed to be canceled, like we're coming. And I was like, okay, because somebody did call, and
You told him?
this is what I said. I said,
Nick,
no, because mama, I'm gonna
get
say,
in the drama,
I'm
in
not
the
gonna-
boom
I'm not
boom
gonna
drama.
Say, I'm not gonna say your boyfriend called. He's breaking up with you. That's not my place. I said, okay, because somebody did call and specifically said that they wanted to cancel this reservation.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry. You're right. That is what you need to do because that is factually what happened.
And
but
it's
then,
professional.
yeah, but it's also not your fault that the other dude, desperate dude, did not warn you before. Like
No,
you.
and again, none of my business.
No fucking business.
And
Yeah.
so then I was like, somebody did call and specifically request to cancel this reservation, and he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, they said like you guys weren't coming, and he goes, that's so weird. He's like, no, we are coming, and I said, okay, I can reinstate that for you. So I reinstated the reservation, and I put notes on it so everyone upstairs knew. Then I was like, said basically boyfriend called, said that they were not coming because he's gonna break up with him, but then boyfriend called and said they would be coming. So it's a really weird situation. Just be advised. 5 minutes before
I'm gonna
the reservation's supposed to come in, he canceled it himself online. Which means
the boyfriend
the guy whose reservation initially
who was gonna get broken up.
the one who's going to get broken up with canceled the reservation 5 minutes before they're supposed to come in. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, so he got broken up over the phone days after Valentine's Day, which they spent Valentine's Day together and they had a romantic little weekend with each
Then
other.
when the death becomes her, and they went to dinner.
Oh my God, they're telling each other I love you. They're having chocolate covered strawberries. They're fucking, and then his man breaks up with him 15 minutes before they're supposed to have their dinner reservation table of 7 o'clock for dinner. I was gagged because then everyone was like, because I was obviously told my coworkers, and so like the girls at the host stand kept coming downstairs because they were doing code check and stuff, and they were like, "Oh my God, I'm so nervous, like I don't know what we're about to witness, like this is gonna be so crazy." And then
I know here's impression you're doing, by the way.
Yeah.
There's one specific coworker that we have that is that frenetic.
Yeah, and then I was like, and then when it got canceled, I saw and I went, they canceled, and they went, no, you're kidding. And then we all like held like a prayer circle basically for this like twink because we all felt so bad because we're like, first of all, fuck the guy who called first, fuck the guy who broke up with him, because like obviously I don't know what's going on in the relationship. Maybe
Imagine like he's
imagine
being
it's
abused.
abusive,
Yeah.
but from an outsider perspective,
No, I mean-
having absolutely no skin in the game. May that love
Never find me. But I guess what I will say is, listen, like again, to be devil's advocate, which is my job here as as Peru. My name is Peru.
Well, you certainly look like the devil.
Thank you. Wearing all black today. I will say there are moments in which like you are so like riddled with anxiety that you don't know, like how to get out of something,
Mama,
and then
break up with your boyfriend before you call the restaurant. That's
That rule
That's
number
rule number
one. Don't
one.
involve. I mean, but white. I'm assuming. Well,
Oh
no.
yes, they
Oh,
put that. Yes, yes.
oh god, the whiteness of it all to try to make this the most dramatic thing ever to tell the reservationist at the
But
restaurant.
of course, like I'm sure that twink probably felt some sort of solace when he heard my voice on the other end of the phone. He was like, "Oh, that's a sister."
I don't even think that. I just feel like this person, regardless of who it was gonna be, like they were already running the monologue in their head of like, how am I gonna break this to them? How will I let them know I need to cancel? It's like any regular person would just be like,
Well,
hey, do you have a
and so-
cancellation
well,
fee? Can you
and
just
when
cancel?
when the boyfriend who was supposed to get broken up with called and said, "Oh, that reservation's not
Who's
supposed to
they,
cancel."
they sound cute?
He was cute. I saw his photo.
Oh, both? Both their profiles were in the reservation?
No, just like I just only saw the guy who got broken up with. He was a cutie.
Oh, so the guy that got broken up with had the reservation. Okay,
Yes,
he
it
was
was
the one
his-
that
it
made
was
the
his
reservation.
yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, so you saw he was cute.
So then, but
Did you Google him?
No, I just looked at his little.
Oh,
photo.
honey, I trust me. I
His-
would have Googled
Oh
that,
my,
found
his
the
name was basic
Instagram.
as fuck. Like it wasn't
Jordan
gonna,
White.
It wasn't gonna pull up anything. But he when he called to say that the reservation wasn't supposed to be canceled, I was like, is this some sort of like practical joke that these two faggots are playing on us? Like, are they trying to like, oh, let's do something kind of crazy and like have everyone at the restaurant think we're gonna break up or like whatever? I'm like, these two like fucking like like something that you would do. You know what I mean? Like, because when he called, I was like, oh, they're playing with me right now. I was like, they're messing with me. I was like, fuck these whores. But then when they canceled it 5 minutes before they
Yeah.
come in, I was like, oh, it was real.
It dawned on you that somebody was gonna spend the weekend crying alone.
And I was like, babe, I have a shoulder you can cry on. I'm not. I know I'm not what you're looking for. But babe, please.
That is such a gag, girl.
No, it was gaggy because then everyone I told it to literally just like stared at me, jaw dropped. Because I was like, did you guys hear about that reservation? They're like, what reservation? And I was like, the one that got broken up with. And they're like, what? It was honestly, it was probably the funniest thing that happened in a really long time.
I mean, I've seen stuff when I worked at Beauty in Essex. I remember this one guy. Also, this is all like yellow flags galore. But again, these things were like rule number one: don't do this. This guy came for his reservation. He showed up about like 45 minutes early for a reservation he had for 2. No notes on a reservation. Because, like on Resi, if any of you townspeople like go out to dinner or like use Resi to book, I know depending on the town you live in, sometimes it might not be necessary. But if you live in a big city, more likely than not, you have to make a reservation to go to dinner. So then, when you go to Resi, you add up like, is there a special occasion? So you put birthday, like 30th birthday or like anniversary, graduation. So in this specific reservation, there were no notes. There were no notes that there was a special celebration, even a birth, nothing. And then guy shows up, really unassuming kind of guy. I'm not gonna mince my words. Like, he didn't look like all that, He didn't look.
Okay, judging a book by its cover.
I mean, literally, but and it's funny too because then when we realized what the reason he was having dinner for, I was judging him more because he just looked like a Joe Schmo, regularly dressed. It's like a cute little restaurant, or at least it was trendier at that time, and like, we're like, okay. Shows up 45 minutes earlier for his reservation, saying, "Hey, I know it's last minute, but I'm proposing to my girlfriend here tonight." Already a red flag. It's like, if you're gonna be proposing in public, proposing in public, there's a joke in there somewhere. Proposing, okay,
work on
let's
it.
work on it. Proposing in public. If you're gonna be proposing in public, that already means
that's like getting fucked in public. Public.
Public.
It's a new tag on Sniffies.
Another one. Oh my, you can't.
I'm into public.
We keep creating terms. I love getting fubbled.
Okay.
No.
Continue on with the
Okay.
story.
Anyway, so if you're gonna be proposing to somebody, you need to plan a proposal. Unless you don't care about it, then you can just propose at home over coffee. But
see, and I don't want to get proposed to in public.
I want to get proposed I wanted my proposal to be elaborate, but I don't want it to be like at a private beach or like I want my proposal to be like it's clearly an elaborate proposal, but it's happening intimately. And then I say yes, and then like all my friends are like in the lodge like next door. They're like,
I want it to be like, I want it to be sentimental and intimate, and I don't want it to have to share it with other people. Like I wanted that just to be like, if like it's just for the two of us, you know what I mean? Like I don't need other people there to see it.
Interesting. No,
That's what the wedding's for.
No, I want
That's
my proposal.
that people can enjoy and share your
And
love.
trust and believe, he better have booked a photographer to be capturing the moment from far
see,
away.
I don't care about that either.
Oh, honey, I need the whole thing.
I just want love.
Oh, and then when I show up, like my mom is there with all of you, and it was like crying, like, oh my god.
What makes you think I'll be crying?
Of jealousy.
No, mama.
Boom, boom, tea.
I'll have my 3 children by then.
Girl.
And then,
Uh-huh.
and I'd be like,
Adopted.
my baby
Alone.
yeah, and my baby will be crying. My baby will be crying.
Your cats.
I'm allergic, so no.
So he shows up, and then we're like, okay, it's already kind of tacky that you're gonna be asking somebody to spend the rest of their life with you, showing up 45 minutes early to your reservation to let the restaurant know. Like, you planned this shit out.
Well, maybe
Like,
that was his. To play devil's advocate. Maybe that's his. That's the straight guy version of planning.
no, there's plenty of straight men who know how to plan a proposal, and like he ain't it. Like, how do you know what table you're gonna be sat? How do you know when you're gonna do it? How do you know? Like, you need to plan that stuff. You can't just like randomly whip out a fucking,
Maybe he didn't realize he wanted to propose until that day.
Well, then that's already also a red flag. So then he's like, "Is there anything we can do?" And it is already like in the middle of like, so like the VIP tables have already been claimed. They've already been assigned. Like, he was actually assigned in the front of the restaurant, which is known as like the shitty table. It's like not a good spot. So like it's where like all the deuces are like right next to each other. So he's not gonna have any privacy. So he's like, "Where am I gonna sit?" And then it's like, like where you're gonna be, where. So then he's like, "Okay, is there any way to like, can we like order like a specialty cake? Like, is there a way that the pastry can cook something special?" It's like, "Honey, what do you think this is? Your house?" Like,
It's not a private chef
the
situation.
pastry
babe.
chefs have clearly a limited amount of time to turn out freaking souffles. Like, this is not how we do things. So then the maitre d' was like, "Okay, well, we have like a chocolate cake that we can like maybe place the ring on a plate next to, And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, can you like put it inside the cake?" And we're like, "No, we
No.
cannot put it inside the cake. It's not. You're already like, this is
Also,
bad."
Imagine they put in the cake. She eats the cake. She accidentally eats the ring, chokes and dies.
Yay!
Or
And
she has to
he's
shit
like-
out. Or she's a shit out the ring. He's like, they finish the cake, and he's like, "Wait, where's the ring?" And then she's like, "That was so yummy, babe." And then he's like, "Oh, she's gonna shit it out
Yeah,
later."
24 karat shit. Title of
And
that.
that- and
24 karat shit.
and then she shits it out in the toilet, and then she sees it, and she goes, "What's this?" And then he's like, "Will you marry me?"
Ew. So,
Wait, romantic.
so then he
In the bathroom on the toilet.
I'm probably for you. So, okay, so like we were trying to help him out because obviously like he sucks at this, and like he's always not even dressed. He wasn't even wearing like a cute outfit. Like, he was wearing jeans and like an unfucking tucked button down. Like,
Wow, and he probably looked at himself that day.
He goes
before
like, "I'm
gave it in the
serving."
mirror. He's like, "Wow, I'm serving the
I
hardest
know.
look you've ever seen in your
Yeah.
entire life. This fit goes crazy."
he put on his one button down he has from like, I don't know, from
Girl, I'm
not
sure the rest of the closet's probably sweats.
yes. So, girl arrives so much cuter than him,
Well, ain't that the way?
which
mama?
means he probably what had a big dick or
money.
had money, of course.
Well, also, if he had money, girl, then like you should.
But
be
he didn't
planning-
have money because clearly,
Yeah, you'd be
yeah.
planning-
So probably like he was just like a good lay, or
or maybe he does have like a nice job and it's cushion, but it's not like wealthy.
yeah. But whatever. He was just not
Or maybe
not
he has
giving.
generational wealth.
No,
Oh.
you could tell even if someone doesn't know how to dress, what they're wearing is expensive or not. You know what I mean? Anyway, table. So at that point, as it's getting closer to dessert, it wasn't my table by the way. I was serving, and it wasn't my table. As it's getting closer to dessert, we're all actually starting to like get excited because we were like, okay, like he kind of sucked and stupid. Like, okay, whatever. Like, it's okay. They're done with their entree. Like, okay, let's go see what they. So then we're like, okay, let's actually make it nice, whatever. Like the pastry chef actually added fruit, like some like sliced fruit around it, and like decorated it with chocolate ganache. Like, they actually like try to make it nice,
Mm-hmm.
like Dorinda style. Comes to the table. And so then all of us, like, we knew what was going to happen, like, oh, the cake is coming with the ring. Like, it was going to be, like, positioned with the box open,
Oh, okay.
facing her. And he's sweating buckets the entire time. Like, he's just, like, doing the straight guy thing, with just, like, with the leg.
Was he like balding?
Yes. How did you know?
I could just tell.
This has the energy of a half balding man.
And that's the thing. It's like I don't understand what it is. With
And
straight
so
men.
if you're listening to this and you're balding, listen.
Nothing wrong with that. And
Must-
listen, the thing that bothers me though about balding men is either
Please tell us what bothers you.
no, it really does because it is no offense, it is kind of an easy fix for some, and maybe not for everyone.
Yeah.
But from my experience as someone who has taken medication for hair loss, it is kind of baffling to me when I do see men who can be or would be so much more attractive if they just popped a pill. if they just pop that finasteride pill or they got some minoxidil or just fully shaved their head. When they're in the in-between stage where their hair is really thin and you have giant bald spots that you can see and they're like combing it over to like try to hide it. At that point, like shave it all off or pop a moan, like something.
We've talked about this before, but ultimately, some people just don't care.
But that is the thing. Like my dad, when I told him like last year when I like had gotten my prescription for finasteride, he was like, I said something to him. I'm like, well, haven't you taken it? Because like my dad doesn't have hair. Like he's like pretty bald, but he like has some that he like lets grow out or whatever. And he was like, well, I don't care about that kind of thing. And I'm like,
Well, he's also already married, you know.
yeah, but he was like losing his hair like when he and my mom started dating, you know. But I think it probably just got to the point where he was like, well, I mean, there's no point now. Like I'm not trying to impress anybody, you know.
Yeah.
And I get that, and maybe it's just because I'm shallow or not shallow, but I'm like I value physical appearance.
I mean, now
in myself.
beauty standards is also for men has also gone up, you know.
Sure, but I do have to wonder sometimes when I do see like a man who does have money and is somewhat fairly attractive, and he is balding.
Well,
like,
but you said the key word that he has money, so he knows he has something to offer. He's like, okay, well, I got money, so they're gonna like me, my bald head.
But that's the thing is like but I don't know, and it's probably really nuanced. But I'm like you could probably get a better crop of people who are interested.
You could take a quick flight to Turkey and fucking get your fucking hair transplant done.
Yeah, I have questions, and I get it. Some people don't care about that kind of thing. Like specifically, men don't. But I'm like,
Well, we do.
But like men. But I don't know. Gay men are different.
Yeah,
obviously.
but I also see through it. Oh my god, come on, girl. Let's talk about the gay men who are always wearing a baseball cap. Sorry to clock your tea, honey, but if you're a gay man on a Grindr profile photo and all you're doing is wearing a baseball cap, guess what? That means you have a fucking eagle's nest on your head, and just show it off. You know, like no need to hide it. So like.
Polish that spot, babe. Let it shine. Hit it with a spotlight.
Yeah, so like, but then at the same time, it's just like I'm still like the kind of girlfriend who like I'll be like Kate Hudson style, like you know, like I'll see through his bald spot and like I'll turn him, you know, like I'll transform him. I'll convince him to like shave his head, and it can be so much hotter.
Okay, so he was sweating buckets.
Cake drops on the table, and mind you, I told you it's deuces are right next to each other, so there's not much room for him to do much.
Did he get on his knee?
Girl, the most awkward knee.
Moonstruck getting on the knees, both knees.
Girl,
at the table.
So everyone, by the way, on the staff is around because we know it's about to happen. Even the runners and bussers are just like, oh my god, give it.
You lived through Moonstruck.
Yeah. So they're like, and then she's actually shocked. She's surprised.
Imagine they've only been dating for a week.
She's like, and then he's like stumbling through words, but like he got on his knee too quickly. Like usually it's like you get through your thoughts and then you're like, but then like he was so nervous that like
from personal experience.
No, from just seeing movies.
From everyone that's proposed to you.
From seeing movies,
okay.
I know how it's supposed to go.
Okay, right? Because you got no man.
Yeah, it's okay. I've had more mans than you have, so what?
And that's okay.
What? No, exactly, bitch.
And that's okay.
Jugular, coming for the jugular.
You didn't come for anything because my jugular is.
And neither did you. Trust and believe.
The way that she's so angry.
Anyway, I'm gonna get married one day.
Just burst into tears. We both are crying. We're like,
so he is just fumbling through everything, and then like he stumbles upon the table next to him, and like the music's still playing, so like nobody can hear anything, so it's loud. Like it's just not the ideal scenario. He piss poor planned it. As soon as he like, you know, grabs the ring from the plate, which is also weird. She's just like she goes like this. She starts going like this. Visual learners. She's like no. She's like going like this with her hand. She's like no, please take a seat, and then. They talk really quickly, then the entire staff like stops recording on their phone. They're like, oh, she told him no. She said no. And then it was the quickest no too, because it wasn't even just like, she was more surprised and just being like, no. Like it's please stop. Like we don't need to be doing this. It wasn't
me as fuck.
It wasn't even just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not sure. It was just like, oh, no, please. Like, she was more, like, concerned and embarrassed. Like, please don't do this.
If I was in her position, I would feel the same way. Like, if I got proposed to by somebody that I knew that I didn't want to end. Well, and that's also the thing. It's like...
That's a red flag. You know when you know when the relationship's going well that you're expect is that feel like, okay, well, I think it's happening, you know? Like, you...
But also that just makes me curious about that relationship in particular, because it's like, well, clearly he seems to really like her and like felt really nervous and was like to the point, like, yes, like obviously like he didn't put that much effort behind the proposal in and of itself. But I do wonder, I'm like, well, I wonder for her to say no, and also in such a public place, that's why I don't want to get proposed to in public.
Well, the thing is, she was clearly better than him, in attractive level, and it was just it was not a good match. But like,
She
I
was with him
think
for his money.
I think maybe he had some money, or I don't know, maybe she felt bad, or I don't know. But my take is, they were 6 months in. He fell head in love with her. He
And
knew
she-
and then she kind of felt bad. She wasn't sure. Okay, he may be getting a new. And then like I think he just took it too far and was just like, I want to propose, and just completely did not see the context clues of like, this is not. He was just too into her.
Did they like leave dinner after that?
No, she left. She stood up and left.
I mean, you would
and
have
homeboy,
to.
and of course the server had to come up and be like, all right, well, here's the check. Like,
How was the tip?
I don't even remember, but I do remember the server being like, we'll have to go drop the check now because.
God, that's like that's humiliating.
Yeah.
I could never. That's why, again, I don't want to get proposed to in public for that particular reason. I mean, not that I would hope that if I'm getting proposed to, it'd be by somebody obviously that like
You would be like, oh yeah.
Because if I'm gonna date somebody and I'm spending that much time with somebody and like whatever, I have to like them to
Of
some
course.
degree. And like as soon as I'm like not into it anymore, I'm kind of over it, and so it's like I'll leave.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so much more nuanced than that. You
Well,
know?
obviously it takes time, but
But speaking of proposals, I think we've alluded to this like a few months ago on season 1 of Pioneers and Trailblazers. Please, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube right
I
now,
don't-
subscribe.
what
Take a
is-
moment.
I don't
Leave us a
what-
comment.
What are you referring to?
Oh, cheers first.
Cheers.
Mommy juice. Cheers to anyone who's watching and having a sip of anything.
Wait, what are you referring to?
Well, famously, we've alluded to somebody proposing a sexual encounter
Oh.
to both Nick and I.
Well,
This-
it's a gentleman that I've had sex with multiple times.
Yes. Well, you never said multiple times. You said twice.
Well, that's multiple.
No, that's two.
More than once.
No,
It's
that's
multiple times.
twice. That's a word for what you're talking about. It's twice. Multiple is more than 3 times.
We've had anal sex twice. We've had multiple hookups.
Interesting. So this is somebody who I came to be aware of through Miss Nicholas. And Miss Nicholas, was detailing how like,
Well, he played me.
it's a player. Well, okay.
I can talk about it.
Okay. You want to give just a brief rundown of like how you guys came to be,
Yes.
and then I'll go into my story.
So 3 years ago.
Okay, we don't listen, girl. I love you, but we don't
No, I'm
have
just
time
kidding.
for 3 years,
No,
Nick.
I'm just
Years
saying,
ago,
I've met this man 3 years ago. He hit me up on Grindr. He's very attractive. He
just Nick's type,
okay.
and I'm gonna leave it there.
So he's very attractive. He's very like charming. And he's got a nice dick. Okay, he got a big dick.
Yeah.
He came over to my apartment like that summer. We like hung out and we got along really well. And like he's basically spent like hours and hours at my place. We didn't hook up. We just hooked up. We didn't have sex that time. And then he kept coming and hanging over at my place. And then we would have sex and stuff. And he's really good. And he's a very sexual person. So like whatever. But then he kept telling me that he was gonna take me out on like a date. Like he was like, I really like you. I want to take you out like on a real date. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because like every time we'd hang out at my place, he'd like order dinner for us. We'd like watch TV, like hang out, cuddle, like whatever. Very like boyfriend experience. And then randomly he would like make plans with me to like hang out, and then last minute stop responding to me and then ghost me completely. And then he'd reach back out to me weeks later, call me, and be like, why are you mad at me? And I'd be like, sir, like you made plans with me and then you stopped responding to my text when I asked when you were going to come over or like what the deal was, like what's happening. And that happened multiple times. And then finally I was like, okay, I get the hint. You're not that interested. Like you just want to fuck. That's fine. And then like a couple of months ago started like hitting me back up again because like I stopped talking to him. He found out he had a boyfriend.
Okay, wait.
He had a boyfriend.
It wasn't a couple months ago. This is Nick. The communication has been going from when I got involved almost a year. So this has to have been
but we've
over a year ago at least.
No, but on and off we've talked for like it's been on and off, so it's like not consistent. But a couple of months ago, it's been a little bit more consistent, where he like has been.
You're jumping the gun though. So how did I come about? Because now you're jumping to like just a few months ago. Throughout the last year, or like over a year ago or a year ago, I don't remember how I got acquainted with him. Either he found me.
He hit you up on he had DM'd you on Instagram because he found
It was in
because
see. That's what. Okay.
because he found the podcast and he was like, oh, he kept asking me, he's like, oh, your podcast co-host is hot, and I was like, oh, ha ha ha, and then he was like, wouldn't, and then had like made a joke about a three-way or something, and then he slid into Peru's DMs.
So that's what it was. And then
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Mr. What do we call him?
I don't know, girl.
But we always have names for these guys.
I don't know, what do we call him? Player? Hey, Mr. Player.
Player guy, Mr. Player. Mr. Player gets a hold of me. And of course, when Nick mentions the particulars, I'm just like, well, hello.
You're like, I'm interested.
And I got the things, and then this person has a specific way of communicating with you. So at that, this is like a year ago when I got involved in just the communications. Of course, if you're gonna hit me up on Insta or wherever, like I've said famously, if I like you, I'm gonna give it right back to you. Like I'll whatever. So highly sexual person, and next thing you know, like I was in Astoria once, and then he found me there on Grindr, and then most recently on Sniffies too. But this Mr. Player has a very specific way to talk to you via text. It's with Nick's very specific.
It's always sexual. He's always like, how's that hole doing? Or like
Yeah.
sending me links to different porn, being like, I want to do this with you.
That's very specific to me. Like, cause he's never done that with me, but with me, it's always been like sending me like vids of him doing stuff.
He never does that with me.
See, wow, he really has this.
He caters his experience to each and
To
every
each-
individual.
Oh.
But about a year ago, when kind of around the time when he slid into Peru's DMs, I got spammed with a bunch of likes on my Instagram posts from this like one account, and I was like, who is this person? I click on the Instagram, it's his boyfriend. And I went, oh, I had no idea he had a boyfriend, mind you. And this man is like texting me
'Cause
almost every day, being like, I want to fuck you, like
Yeah.
come, I'll Uber you, like come to my place, like I just moved, like it's like whatever, all this stuff. And I go to this boyfriend's Instagram and like has like happy 1 year to my man, like I don't know anyone better, like all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, like that's crazy, because I'm like, if you've been together for a year at this point, like I had known him for maybe like a year and a half or something. So I'm like, so he was playing me around the time that he was probably started dating his man, and then but like just didn't.
Which
tell me.
again is really interesting on how like they are presenting online, but it has nothing to do with their relationship, which very well could be open.
It could be open, but like I was never given any indication that he was in a relationship to begin
Yeah, but
with.
you're not owed that.
It would be nice to know if he's telling me that he wants to take me out on a date.
No, I mean, what if I mean, it never got to the point where like you're on the date and you're like, okay, like he would be like, hey, just so you know, like full
if you're-
transparency.
No. I disagree. If you're coming over to my place and we're basically acting like we're a couple, not like a couple, but like we're dating.
Yeah, but sister, I also know you. Sometimes you take things and make them bigger than they are.
I understand.
Like to you, like to you, like being like, oh, we're like acting like a couple. It's like someone coming over, breeding you, and then sharing chips and dip.
No,
Like
no,
that's
no.
not having
No,
a
no,
romantic
that's
evening.
That's not how it would be. It was not how it was. He would come over. We would have lovely sexual encounters, and then
Stop
he would,
strangling me.
and
Wow.
then he would order us dinner. Have it
Okay.
delivered, and then we would sit on my couch. And I showed him the Real Housewives of Potomac. and he
Wow,
was like,
this
"Claire,
is romance. If I have heard anything but,
I don't care. It was romantic to me.
I'm just saying,
And so
girl.
then- so
It's
anyway.
okay.
No, but then on top of that, to tell me that you want to take me out on a date and like you're trying to allude to that you're trying to pursue me romantically, all the while having a boyfriend or pursuing somebody else, that would be nice to know, because I'm like, listen, sound people are gonna understand and they're gonna be on my side. Peru, I don't understand what drugs you're on right now. But
Excuse me, I'm making also sense.
no,
Both things can be true.
both things can be true.
You're
but
not owed anything. It wasn't that serious. If
I'm not.
listen, if I'm a person being like, hey, I'm interested in you. Like, I want to take you on a date because I have intentions of being your boyfriend. Like, things are so much more muddy than that. So, like, to have somebody who has a boyfriend and he's also interested in you, polyamory does exist.
It does.
Open
but,
relationship
and if
exists.
that's the, but that's
So,
the thing
like,
is if that's the situation
yeah,
that you're
but
in,
then
that would
maybe
be nice to know.
exactly. I get it. For
And I
for,
wasn't informed
for,
on any of this.
no, but
It took me a year and a half to find out he even had a man to
well,
begin with.
my thing is for my sister Nick, for my sister Nick, who I
Mhm.
would die for.
Prove it.
But wow, she wants to kill brown people. You heard it first.
I want the podcast to myself.
I know, but the people are on my side. The Perudals.
Yeah, we'll do a poll.
The Perudes. So listen, you are very much like a romantic. You require a lot more. You know, like you do take things like slow. So like for you with this person, what may have felt like like what, but I would have liked to know like beforehand, like to somebody else, like for example, Mr. Player could very well be someone like me who's just like, oh, like I just went over to his place, we watched TV,
Well,
ordered some food, we fucked, and then I asked him to go on a date once, and then for that person it could be like I didn't mean anything serious by that.
No, and that's the thing. It's like I see that and I understand that. And the thing I wasn't exploiting up to, because to be quite honest, I saw the red flags in him when we were hanging out, and I have vivid memories of telling one of my
The red flag's more the ghosting and the leading on.
Well,
That
that's
is
what
the
I'm saying.
tea.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
him having a boyfriend is like whatever.
No, see, that bothers me because I was like, because then also when his boyfriend spammed my Instagram, I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
then
like-
I'm like, wow, his boyfriend's not giving him enough, so he comes to get this puzz.
no, but then I'm like, so why?
Which is a quote from you specifically, bitch. Okay, so tells people just so you know, he's on his high horse again, soapbox, and that quote comes out of Nick every night when we're at work in the freaking stupid office he's got. Every time I say a comment about anything, he's just like, well, he wants to come get this back. Like you are that girl.
What,
You are Ruby.
so listen. It was a shock to find out that he had a man after he made it seem that he was not the relationship type, because he basically said that to me when I was like, well, you asked me out on a date.
Okay.
And then he was like, "Yo, that's not really for me." And so then I was like, "Okay, fine then. I'm not doing this anymore." And then we kind of stopped talking, and then he like every now and again will reach back out to me and just like try to start conversations and basically try to get me to come over. So a couple of months ago, he had like moved or whatever, and so he lives far from me. Like it's a journey. And so he starts this conversation off being like, "What are you doing right now?" Like I'm off work, like I'm home alone, I'm just jerking it, watching TV, like playing video games, like you want to come over? And I
Video games.
yeah, and I'd be like, and I would say, "Yeah, I'll come over, Uber me." And then crickets. Or like he'd talk a big game, and I could tell that he was just jerking off, and he was just like
Horny.
he was just horny and whatever. And then by the time that I was like, okay, let's make it happen, it'd be crickets.
And on the flip side, by this point, he also had been texting me in various platforms, Sniffies, Grinder, Text, and Instagram. Same thing.
See, he doesn't
Like,
even follow me on
want
Instagram.
this, want that, want all this, that, that kind of. And so, like, Nick and I started cross-referencing it, and it became this funny thing between Nick and I. Like, okay, Mr. Player texted you,
He hit
and
me
then,
up again.
and then it'd be like, wait, no, me too. So then we're like literally both. He was like, oh, okay,
Oh
like,
my God. So he then he texted me last Friday or Saturday. You did it on Saturday, right?
it was before our coworker Ellis play. It was Saturday.
Yeah.
It was snowing.
He texted me that morning because he'll text me and he'll just be like, "Hey," and I just will ignore it because at this point I'm not about it. Like I know what he wants and I'm not.
And to be fair, that was I was the very first one to propose. Like, let's just stop talking to him because he's not pulling
yeah.
through.
Yeah, and so then I was like, well, and I also was like, I'm not interested anymore. I'm sick and tired of this like merry-go-round that we're going on. I'm like, it's not gonna happen anymore. The dick's not that
Merry-go-round, more like non-merry-go-round.
Oh my God, the Mark Twain Prize is yours, babe. It's yours.
You're such a bitch.
No. So I was like, and also the dick's not that good. Like it was fine. Like the sex was good, yeah, but like it's not what I want,
Okay, now you're just downplaying it because you know what I'm about to talk about, and then you're just trying to protect your feelings. So I see it.
No, I'm not. When you told me,
You're diminishing. You're diminishing him
when-
because you're upset.
I'm not upset. I'm actually not upset. When you told me that, I literally was like, normally if this had happened like maybe like 2 years ago, I know myself, I would have been like, yeah, everything's fine. I need to leave. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'll be right back. Like I would have removed myself. I like now, like when you had that, I'm so over it. Like I'm so over it.
You're
Also,
so
I'll get behind the. I didn't
guys.
talk.
Nick is bleeding from his eyes. Visual learners. Nick is bleeding from his eyes. He is literally pulling his hair out.
So, but I'll talk about behind the. I was gonna talk about it behind the paywall on the Patreon last week, but we forgot to mention it. But my Valentine's weekend was kind of eventful. So, like, I was thinking about other things when you dropped that bomb on me. So I wasn't even thinking about Mr. Player. I was thinking about something else.
Which is fine. I mean, you're not supposed to be thinking about Mr. Player, but what ended up happening is so now I'm aware of the way that he talks to Nick. He's aware of the way he talks to me, always texting. Like I live in Upper Manhattan and he lives in Queens. So anytime like he would like try to start his games again, like, hey, like how's that pussy doing? You know, they want me to stretch you out. You would be so good when we my bed between me and like all I would ever say would be like, yeah, well, I'm free between this time and this time. Do you want to come? I'm free, and my thing would be like, hey, so I'm free. I'm free all day today. I'm in my place around my
That's what I
neighborhood.
would do too.
If you want to come, so I would always just kill it off right there before he could continue, because then I'm like, I have other shit to do. You know, I don't have the time to be
Yeah, I'm not gonna be
just
waiting around
texting
all
you.
day.
Yeah. So same thing occurs on Saturday, in which I'm just like, he's like, blah blah blah, sex, dick, good, suck me, fuck me, and I'm like, okay, I'm busy today, so I will not be commuting anywhere, and I never do. For dick, it's my number one rule. I will never be commuting away to the freaking like 4,000 feet radius of my apartment. That's as far as I'll go.
But also to get where he lives, it's like for me.
It's literally
particularly-
it's an hour commute.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
But
I
not
said
even
no
30
way.
minutes, girl. No, I'd never travel for dick. So he's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm in my apartment. Oh, I'm busy here. And then I have plans at 7. So I literally said, I'm free between the hours of 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you want to come to my place, let me know. Right? That's it. That's all I said. He's like, actually, today's the day. Like, I need that fucking pussy. Like, I need that hole. I want to fucking load it up. Shut up, girl. You know you like it. So
Not
then,
hearing about you getting ill.
oh, well, listen, you know, I
I
talked
don't need
last
to-
week.
I don't,
and
I don't need to hear about my sister getting stretched and loaded up.
Girl, you hear about that me all the time.
I know, and
So-
I every time I go. "Ugh."
So I'm like, okay, perfect. Let me know. I'm like, I was like 3:30 good. He's like, yeah, it should be good. And he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, oh, here we go again. And I was like, I'm not gonna tell you what we're gonna do. You're gonna come find out. If you don't want to come find out, you know. So that's all I said. I'm not gonna tell you what we're gonna do. You're gonna come find out. Let me know 3:30 is good. He's like, actually, I'm going to. I'm doing it today. Like I'm Ubering to you. And I was like, great. So then I started getting ready. I was like, all right, I'm gonna. He sounded like different than the previous times that he had been telling me he was gonna do it. He actually sounded like, what time this? Like making arrangements. And I was like, okay, it sounds like maybe this could be happening. And I was like, worst case, it doesn't happen. He doesn't come. Then I'm fully prepped. I'll find some other guy to fuck me and then go to Ella's plate. You know, great, win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Going on the shower, and I was like, okay, 3:30 is good. I'm hopping in the shower now. I'm gonna freshen up. Let me know when you're 15 minutes away. Leave the shower. And I'm like, all right, here's the big reveal. Let's see. And I see a text, 2 texts already, you know, notifications. And I was like, all right, here we go. He probably, I don't know if that.
Cancel.
And then I'm like, opening it up. He's like, actually, I'm not going to have time to go over there. You come here. And I was like, girl, I'm not doing this. Like, I can't. Sorry. And then he goes like, no, I'm sending you an Uber right now. And I was like, I still thought he was lying. So I was like, okay, cool. Here's my address. Let me know when it's outside. He's like, just ordered it. It's 8 minutes away. And sends me a screenshot. And I was like, T.
He would offer to buy me Ubers all the time, and then anytime I'd be like, okay, come on, Uber me, he'd be like, oh, it's too expensive.
Well,
And I'd be like, oh, so clearly you don't want it that bad.
get on the Uber. And it was also snowing. And I got ready like really haphazardly because I wasn't expecting to have to leave my house, you know?
Mhm.
And I was like, well, if the Uber's coming, whatever. Like, I'm going to be in a car. I'll throw on a light jacket, easy shoes to get on and off of. I was like, I'm going to be wearing a thong because I wanted to do like my whole, you know, performance.
Sure. Which
Get
I'm sure
to it.
he loved.
Oh, honey, I get there. And by the way, guys, townspeople, like I've already seen him do everything to fucking so many people, and like I know what he's into. I know what he likes. I know he likes like femme boys. I know that he likes lingerie sometimes. So like I was like, I'm gonna do a thong. I'm gonna do a fucking like a beater. My freaking like Jesus necklace. Like I was like gonna go in to do that femme Latin cosplay, and I was like, yes. I get there. Snowing. Beautiful day to be in Queens, actually, because it's very residential.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, here's how you get to my place. And I found out that I was like, is there anyone with you? He was like, I live alone now. And I was like, okay, which now that you remind me that he had a boyfriend, clearly they're not together anymore because he lives alone.
Or they don't live together. That's
Or they don't live together.
because I looked at that boyfriend. I mean, I haven't looked at that boyfriend's Instagram in like a couple of months, but
A couple months.
they seem,
Heck.
it still seemed fresh when I checked
Great.
last time.
I don't
but-
care. It's not my problem, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, my heart goes out to that twink
Get there.
because I hope she knows.
Get there. And guess what? He was like, take the shoes off. Start, taking your jacket off as soon as you come in, and I'll be here waiting for you. And then I was like, yes, I was trying to be sexy when I was in Uber. I was like, yeah. And what are you going to be doing? And he's like, playing video games. And I was like, no, that's not sexy at all. I was like, okay, when I come in, TV's going to be, I'm like, Mom, TV off, no video games.
Your screen time is too
Screen time
high.
is too high. So I was like, you're not going to have video games. I want you to be stroking on your couch naked, TV off. And then he was like drinking. I was like, pour me a drink of your fucking whiskey, have it next to the table, and I'm gonna come in and start fucking worshiping that cock.
Was he smoking weed too? Or
No.
not? Oh, okay.
I get there, open the door. I was pleasantly surprised. It was a really cute space,
He sent me videos of his apartment. It's nice. Yeah.
really nice. That was my first surprise because I was expecting like typical player guy, messy plays, like messy. I was expecting like a messy bro apartment.
I mean, he works in the medical industry, so he's very like
Oh,
clean and
very surprised.
Yeah.
Really nice, actually. To be
Mhm.
really fair, it's a really cute space. I was like, what?
happy for him.
Get there, and then he was like, and then we start, girl, it was so good.
I know. I've had it.
It's big.
I know.
It's so good. And then of course at that point I was like, this is like a year in the making. I was like, I'm gonna show up and show out. So we went to the bedroom, went to the ground on the floor, went to
Oh my
the couch
God.
by the window where he has no curtains. Oh, we did a whole tour of that apartment.
How long were you there for?
45 minutes.
Jeez.
Oh yeah. And then we did some other stuff, that I may be able to revisit. And
She recorded.
and let me tell you, looking back at the footage, looking back at the edit, the director's cut,
What is the composition of the
very OnlyFans videos. So I have a lot.
like POV?
There's POV. There's of the two of us, like window, like by the
Is
window.
it POV of him fucking you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's also like stuff of like when there's a lot. Like, girl, to me, I deserve a Gay VN award for that video and that whole experience because he was like, I had no idea it was gonna be this good, and I was like, yeah, what'd you think? What do you think? And then and then he also has like this energy where he's just very much like, he's like outside of his horniness, dude, top energy. Outside of that, he's a very like Miami guy, like very he was like really nervous and he just wouldn't stop talking, and I was like, take a breath, like
Yeah.
he's like, oh, and he has like this like twang to him,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, okay, you're like, okay, you need to calm down. I was like cool. I was just like, like drying up, my hole. I was like, just like Sharon Stone. I was just like crossing my legs in his couch with like a little bit of whiskey on my hand, and I was just like, it's okay, you can relax. Everything's fine now.
Oh my god.
And then he brought me back to my home until so I could go to Ellis Play. And girl, I'll do it again.
I thought you already have plans to do it again.
It was supposed to be today.
Oh, it didn't happen.
Well, we were pushing.
Is that why he texted me today?
Because
It's all adding up. I see how it is. Wow.
But listen, the fantasy fulfilled. It done. It fucking happened. Finally,
Listen, like I will say, I said earlier, the sex is like whatever. I mean, it's good.
It's
good.
good.
It's good. But like everything that comes with it, like all of the work that has to go behind to even to secure
Yeah.
that one moment, does not make the sex worth it to me personally. Like having to talk to somebody for a full fucking year to try to get that dick again. Like
Yeah, but I was never begging for it. He
That's
was
what
the one that was
that's
begging
what
for
I'm
it.
saying though. Like I'm not gonna beg for it. And then if you're gonna hit me up and trying to like get me to come over, and then I'm like, and then I'm down, and then all of a sudden you're crickets, and then and that's a cycle that continues on for months and months and months. I'm not doing that. Like at that point, it's like if you're gonna be about it, be about it. You know, if like I'm at a stage in my life where it's like, if you really want to fuck me, girl, you're gonna want to fuck. You're gonna make it happen. You know, like I'm not gonna try to beg you to give me the time of day because yeah, the dick's good, but it's not that good. I can get other dick from other people that's just as good.
Well, that is also like a valid point. Like, it's not a unique sex experience I had.
No,
It was a great sex experience.
it was enjoyable.
But
I'm
I am
sure.
able to have that with other men too, to where like I'm not gonna bend over backwards to facilitate something with him.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that he finally facilitated it for me
Did he load you
to
up?
experience it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you keep them inside?
Until I got home.
Oh, that's cute.
That's so cute. So
I
romantic.
mean, not romantic.
Please propose to us.
Certainly not.
We
Well,
will do that, but also make you breakfast. I'll make a mean pancake.
And he's not talking about his ass.
What's your fucking Oh,
You made that joke yesterday. You
I
called her
did.
ass a pancake.
I did.
She's getting mad at me for using her own joke. Wow.
What was in context of? Who said something about pancakes?
It was the regular at work.
Oh my god, this is y'all tell us people before we leave. There's this because I may or may not be moving to greener ventures, and of course that means I'm hitting up everyone that like I've wanted to fuck that I have relationships with at this establishment, and Nick knows. So yesterday I came downstairs and I was like, so I told so and so I want to fuck him, and he was like, Peru, what?
Mind you, that the person that
And then
he's
we
referring
kissed in the hallway.
the person he's referring to gives me the most serial killer vibes I've ever met.
He's mysterious and weird, and I fucking like it.
Yes, but in a bad way, not in a like a fun like ooh he's like a bad boy. It's like oh no he will probably kill you.
No,
Like, and I'm not saying like
we
he's,
know
like,
all of his information. Like we've Googled him. He's a real person.
that doesn't mean that he doesn't have. Do you know real people are also evil? Like what do you mean? Like what do you mean? We're all real people. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Well, y'all, we're gonna be moving on to the Patreon portion of the app. And by the way, let me I think the question for today that we're gonna be discussing is coming from Wisconsin.
Shout out.
20-year-old male, and I think it's a too long didn't read. Well, we're gonna read it, but not for you guys. But the topic is gonna be having a friend with a lot of internalized homophobia and how you deal with a friend with an
Ooh.
internalized homophobia.
So if you're interested in listening to us discuss that topic, feel free to follow that link in bio and subscribe to the Patreon. We have 2 separate tiers. You can be a town council member or you can be a trust and believer. You get an additional town council assembly every single week along with our standard episode. And then if you're a trust and believer, you also get additional supplies as well as a full episode at the end of each month, which I like calculate as like an additional total. If you're a trust and believer, you get like 9 full episodes each month of content.
Damn.
Including the standard, podcast on top of it. So that's a lot of stuff. And it's
We be talking. You all know we can talk.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you are interested, girl, subscribe.
Yes.
you
And
can-
no, I was gonna say you can follow us on Miss YouTube at Pioneers and Trailblazers, and you can rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please. Right now, if you do an Apple Podcast, leave us a review. Spotify, make sure you rate us 5 stars, and on YouTube, make sure you're following us. Subscribe if you want to see this town grow, because we certainly do want to grow.
You can follow us on Instagram at Pioneers and Trailblazers, and you can follow me at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, Clownface Binge on TikTok. Maybe I'll make a comeback. People keep asking about it. We'll see. And then
No one's
Clownface-
asking about it.
the amount of DMs I've been getting, girl, it's kind of crazy. And then Clownface Bitch on Twitter.
And Jesus.
Oh, ew.
And I'm at Hey Peru on Instagram. I'm entering my villain era, and I'm putting out a lot of villainous, delicious content. So please follow me there if you want to see me. And also, one last, before we go, because this relates to you, Shout out to Errol from the town, a town council or trust and believer. Please don't kill me if I don't know which tier, but shout out to you because
Shout out.
he did DM us after hearing some of the DMV stories. He sent us some, basically said that he went to the DMV in his town and just laid it out to me. His entire, like, oh my God. Well, it's here. He like he went and checked in like or he had like an appointment at the DMV and like showed up early, you know, like a typical Nick style. Showed up early to the appointment. People were lining up outside of the DMV because they didn't have appointments. But then he showed up at 8:17 outside of the DMV that opened at 8:30. And then these idiots who didn't have an appointment had to wait outside. But then like he strolled in with his.
You're calling my sisters who didn't have the knowledge to or wherewithal or forethought to
Yeah.
book a reservation.
Yeah.
They're losers.
Exactly, they're losers. And Errol, who's a self-proclaimed Perude, was able to let the girl open the door. He was like, "You have an appointment?" And he was like, "Yes," and strutted right in. So I was like, "Strut diva to the DMV."
I wish that's how the DMV felt here in New York.
I know, girl.
Because that's not the experience that I had. But shout out to Errol. Thank you so much.
Yes, and to everyone, we will see you next week. Bye. We didn't do Pioneers and Trailblazers again.
Oh, oops. So what's your pioneer for the week?
Bye, Pioneer. But okay, we'll do that. But then for the Patreon, you can just keep it in. Okay.
What's your baby? What's your pioneer for the week?
My pioneer for the week is this delicious. If you guys are visual learners and you've been watching this, you saw me chow down a chicken burrito pollo asado from Trader Joe's. Shout out to them, Pioneer. And also this Yucateco green chili hot sauce from the bodega up the street from me. Delicious and just the amount of spicy. And I'm actually going to have Nick have a little taste right now. Have a little taste, but your finger. It's going to be good.
No, not over my white bed.
Just your finger.
No, yeah, I don't want to spill it.
Here. I'm going to put...
Just dab it on, like...
Here. All right, everyone. You're watching live. Nick's going to try this Yucateco hot sauce chili habanero from the bodega up the street from me.
Not too much.
It'll be a dab. Let's see. It's coming out.
Okay.
All right. All right. Don't take it out.
No, I'm trying to catch it.
Give us a review. Let us know what you think.
I mean, I guess I would need to have it with something.
Oh, I guess so, but I mean, I love the taste just on its own.
I mean, it does. It reminds me of... What does it remind me of? Reminds me of some salsa that I've had before.
Interesting. I think it's better than regular salsa, but
it's good, and it's got like a little like spice to it, but it's not too much. You know, it's not bad. I mean, I would need it on something. Like I think on a burrito for sure. It'd probably be delish.
Okay, great.
With a little guac.
Anyway, the fuck's your trailblazer?
What is my trailblazer for this week? Who is my trailblazer? What did I do this week? What is like the thing that was like my main takeaway?
Girl,
I guess.
Well, I know what your trailblazer could be.
I know. I guess I'll just shout out my doctor, Dr. Michaela. She's my trailblazer for this week.
We love health.
I live for her. We both have the same hair curl pattern, like the same yeah, that's what it is, curl pattern. And she's iconic, so I love her. So shout out to her, trailblazer.
Space for editing.